Hey everybody, it's Emily from Naptime Creations, and today I'm going to be doing another fun sewing project with you. I've put the links to the pattern that I'm going to be using today and the tutorial that I'm going to be using today in the comments, which will either be above or below this video. So you can go ahead and grab those and follow along, or you can find them after we're done if you want to go ahead and grab them then. So I have to be a little bit more specific in how I do it. So today I'm going to show you how I piece together some of the t-shirts to make it for a bigger kid, and then I'm just going to work on the pants today, but I've also linked to the tutorial where I showed you how I made the shirt as well. So today we're just going to talk about the pants. Here's Rose on the floor doing her craft projects this morning, and I'm going to come over here to my cutting space so we can cut out this. So any Seinfeld lovers in the group might recognize this shirt that my husband has, and this is one that he didn't want anymore, and the main reason would be that he is really conscious about the thickness of t-shirts. Sorry, I know you can't really see me, but where we live it's pretty hot and humid, and so he is always wanting to make sure that he's wearing the thinnest possible shirt. So hey guys, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, say hi and let me know that you're on so that I can see who's watching. So anyway, so this is an old t-shirt. I have a whole bin of my husband's shirts, and today I'm going to make sort of a legging style PJ pants for my son. I sewed up this t-shirt live a few weeks ago, just a classic boys t-shirt, and I'm thinking this will probably be the top to go with these bottoms, but we haven't really decided on the set yet. So right now we're just going to be making the pants out of, let's see, the pants out of this yellow t-shirt and this gray t-shirt. Okay, so I'm going to piece them together to make one pair of pants for my son, or pajama pants. So a couple things. One, if you have t-shirts that have really thick vinyl on them, it's so hard to sew through sticky vinyl. If it's more of a screen print like this, then it's not so bad. But if it's a thick vinyl, I try to stay away from those kind of shirts because they really do, it's very hard to sew through. So anyway, from there, you can just decide. And obviously, sometimes I put the print on the thing that I'm making. If it's a shirt, you can sometimes refashion around and use the same graphic. But for these pants today, I'm going to try to not use, to not hit the graphic. So because my son's legs are now this long, okay, there's no way that can fit on one, let's see if we can get this even so you can see the whole thing. So, right, see here, so, okay, so they're really, very long, so it's impossible to fit it onto one t-shirt. So when I traced the pattern, I actually chunked it into 3 sections, and I'm gonna make the top of the waistband out of gray, the bottom of the pants and the cuff out of gray, and then the middle out of yellow. So you have to be a little creative when you're piecing it together, but that's the joy of making pajamas, is they can be kind of as crazy as you want. And I have a son who doesn't really care at all about fashion, so it's pretty easy to just make it how I want and then he'll wear it. So anyway, so I'm going to cut out the main piece. My son is only 8. Well, he's going to be 8 on Sunday, which is very hard for me to believe that he's already 8. But because I'm using a legging pattern, which is actually pretty fitted, I've sized up to the 10. You can see I've marked that on the pattern because he's a boy and I'm sure that he doesn't want to make tight pants. You know, that's even for pajamas, that's probably a bit much for him. So we're sizing up so that they're a little bit looser, and he'll maybe even have room to grow in them. So the like length might be a little bit long, but I'm sure it's going to be fine as well. So all right, so we're going to start cutting. Again, if you're just stopping in, we are refashioning 2 t-shirts into 1 pair of pajama pants for my son. So it's a great way to use up old shirts, and I'm kind of showing you how I piece it together to make the pajamas, and how you can get more wear out of your husband's old clothes. So if you click on the links to the tutorials that I've put in the comments, you'll see that I've done this many times and in many different ways. So it will give you not only this way that I'm showing you, but other options as well. I love doing it with long sleeve shirts because you can use the sleeves as the legs, which is just so convenient. So obviously my 8-year-old is probably on the top end of me being able to do this because there's just simply not enough fabric for him anymore as he gets bigger. But if you have little ones, you can, there's so much fabric in these t-shirts, and if you have them available to you, it's like, it's such a free way to be able to sew. So the pattern is free, the tutorial is free right here or on my blog, and if you have a t-shirt, then the t-shirt is free. So you can't get much better than that when you're sewing for your kids if it doesn't cost you anything but some of your time. So, and I'm hoping to show you today how absolutely fast it can be. So Heather, sweaters would make great leggings too. That'd be super fun. So yeah, you could go ahead and check that out and use the same ideas to do that. So the legging pattern again is more fitted, so I have made it larger because it's for a boy and it's for pajamas, and he doesn't want tight pants. But if you were making this for a girl or for everyday wear, I wouldn't upsize. The other thing about using t-shirts for leggings is it's actually not the right kind of fabric. So it won't ever be as tight as leggings are supposed to be because it's not, t-shirt fabric is not very stretchy. So when I sewed the leggings, Monday I sewed leggings. You should go check out that pattern, and we made them from, let's see if I can, what did I do with those leggings? I don't even know. Oh, here. So we made them from like a cotton lycra, and they're much stretchier. So this is the same pattern, but these we made to be fitted. And right now we're making them not to be fitted, we're making them to be a little bit bigger, but still like legging type pajamas. But for my son, I don't want them skin tight. Okay, so we want to make sure that they're a little bit roomier and more like boy pants. So, okay, so we have the main section. Now we have the top and the bottom. So I have a second Iowa State shirt that we're going to be using. So I guess, I don't know if my husband decided that he's not a fan anymore or that it's just too thick. So again, I said, you know, he's really conscious about like how thick his shirts are for here where it's really warm. So April, glad you liked the leggings I made on Monday. I had fun sewing them. And what? Yeah, Mommy's making pants for Jack. All right, so this shirt has obviously a big thing on the front, and then on the back is just solid. So we have a little bit more to work with. But we're probably going to have to cut into the Iowa State graphic a little bit, but I'm sure my son won't care. So this is for the top of the pants. And then we also have, this is for the bottom. And I want it to, instead, to not look like leggings. So, Mary, how fun that your daughter is wearing one of my patterns right now. I love hearing things like that and knowing that people are using my patterns. That's just super exciting for me. Okay, so but this one I'm gonna put a cuff on it because I think that looks more like pajamas that you would buy rather than leggings. And So I'm gonna fold this over and we'll cut a cuff from other fabric. So we're gonna cut out these two pieces, the top and the bottom, and then we'll grab some, I probably will just grab some yellow and make a cuff from the yellows to make it really crazy. We'll have all kinds of colors going on. So yeah, I definitely need to sew my son some more sweatpants and like track pants for this winter. So I'll probably be doing live videos on both of those in the near future. So you can see, oh, you found my elastic. You also need a piece of elastic for the top of the pants. So, all right, let's cut these. Rosie, don't climb, please. Rose is joining me this morning. The boys are off to school. They get on the school bus at like 7:08 this year, which seems really early. I don't know, what time do your kids get on the bus? Maybe it's normal. We've always had a little bit later bus, but anyway, so we'll see. So far it's been okay. They've been waking up on their own. I don't even have to get them up. They wake up like just after 6 sometimes, which is so crazy to me that they just do that. But so far it hasn't been a problem getting them out the door by 7:10, but or 7:08, whatever it is. So okay, just another thing to note, when you're chunking up your pattern, you need to obviously have some overlap between where you put the pieces, like where you're gonna sew. So if you're gonna sew a 1/4 inch seam, you need to add a 1/4 inch to each part of the pattern. If you're gonna do a 3/8 seam, you need to add 3/8 to each part of the pattern. So you can color. So we're gonna, we'll be piecing this together and be sewing that. So then, you just have to have a little bit extra, or your pants will end up shorter than you want them to. Okay, so we've done that. We've got the top, and then the last thing I want to do is cut some cuffs. So those will go on the bottom. Wow, this is going to be really colorful pajamas. I think I'll just use this piece right here. And this is how long the bottom of my legging is, but I want the cuff to be shorter. See how much can I stretch this? So I might, actually maybe I'll just use these bottoms right here. So I don't think the cuff needs to be like skin tight, but I do want it to be tighter than, to look like a cuff, not just a legging bottom. Let's see, so we'll fold the cuff. Want a nice wide one. Whoops, I'm not even in there. What? Oh, I wasn't even on the video, Rose. Okay, so I'm just squaring this up for a cuff piece. And so what we'll do is, when I'm sewing it, we'll fold this up, and then it will be folded in half, and that will be the cuff. It's probably actually still a little bit long. Right, because it's actually longer than the piece. So we'll trim some off, because I want it to be kind of fitted around my son's ankle, right? But I need it to be able to stretch along here. So I think that can still stretch. Actually, I can still trim a little bit more. It's got a little bit more stretch left in it. Like I said before, if you didn't hear, t-shirts do not make the best leggings. It's just not the right kind of fabric. But for pajamas where you don't care that it's like tight, nice leggings, it will just stretch out, and you might have like saggy knees or saggy butt. But for pajamas and for my son, he doesn't care. So I like using t-shirts for that, because I want this to be bigger. I don't want these to be tight leggings, because it's for my son. So, all right, so I'll show you what we've got, and then we'll go put it together. But so here is the main part. We've got the top, we have a bottom, and we have a cuff. And of course, I've cut 2 of each of these pieces, okay? So top, the elastic will be folded over, the main legging part, the bottom, and then the cuff. So I could have cut the cuff from the gray to make it less stripy, but honestly, it's for my son. He has zero fashion, not sense, that's not the word, but he doesn't care at all what I make him. He'll like wear anything. So we're gonna test that wearing anything by making these yellow pajamas. So actually what I'm thinking is that the shirt, which I will, I already have a shirt made, but I need to just adapt it a little bit and maybe make it long sleeve. Let's see. I'm thinking I'll put some sort of like iron-on vinyl on the front of his shirt that's yellow as well. So then it'll kind of be a yellow coordinating, the whole outfit will go together. So that's at least my thought and what I'm thinking about doing in this. So, all right, we are gonna put this all together, and I'm using a ISO serger, which is a brand, I think it's Japanese, and I don't even know if they sell them in the US, but I bought mine here in Hong Kong, and it's not a high level. I would think it's like comparative to a Brother serger. It seems like pretty basic. And I'm using a Janome Memory Craft sewing machine, which is an upper level sewing machine from Janome, but I love it. It's worked great for me, and even I would recommend like the Janome base model because I've really been pleased with the sewing machine. So anyway, those are the machines I'm using, and no, they're not left-handed machines. It's just flipped on Facebook. So I'll just put that out there. Someone will probably ask as we're going along if I have left-handed sewing machines. The answer is no. It's just this silly thing that Facebook does. All right, so I've got to organize my pieces here, and I have 2 of everything. So the first thing I'm going to kind of do is sort out one of each piece. Okay, so, and I want to be able to match the right side. So this one will go here, and this one will go in my spare pile. And then, let's see, this one will go here. Okay, and then we'll grab a cup. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach along the top and along the bottom to create the leggings. So, for the Mary, yeah, great question about my, here I'll use my toe to pick the other. I just buy tissue paper from Walmart in like the big packs of white tissue paper. I think it's like $2.99 for 100 sheets. Something, it's really cheap, and then honestly I don't feel bad about when I'm done with this project just throwing it, because I keep all the printouts, but I don't keep these. You need this? Okay. Or I let Rose color on it when I'm done, and I don't have to store it. So that's what I use. I know that like freezer paper is really popular, and tracing paper is really popular, but I find tissue paper to be super cheap and easy, and I just kind of throw it when I'm done with the, unless I know I'm going to be making another one really soon, I don't keep them. I just keep the paper copy. And all right, so all my patterns come with a 3/8 seam allowance, so I'm sewing that. If you don't have a serger, it's not a problem. You would just use a zigzag or a knit stitch. Okay, so there we go. That's the going to be the top of the leggings. Marie, it's not a left-handed machine. It is Facebook reversing this. So everything in my life is, you're like looking at a mirror when you're watching me. It's just the way Facebook is doing videos right now. And a bunch of us keep hoping that they'll update. It didn't used to be this way. For some reason it used to be that I was right side. Okay, so there is one legging pant. You can kind of see if I fold it in half how it will become a legging, and it's going to be kind of crazy, but yeah, it's going to be fine and fun for my son. So, all right, so that's one. I will wait to put the cuff on until I've done both. So let's just quick sew up the other one. So I'm just making sure that I've got the right side of the t-shirts, you know, together. I don't want any, otherwise it could be weird. And I was kind of aware when I picked these two shirts that they were similar thickness so that it would feel congruent throughout the leggings. So I kind of, you know, in my stash have a variety of like thicknesses. So actually this whole bin, you can see right here, is full of like t-shirts and things that I have like stashed to upcycle. So I've got a whole bunch of things that I can use. So anyway, I had a few options. So about, I don't know how my husband has so many shirts, besides the fact that I know he likes buying them, but at least once a year, if not twice a year, he'll go through and he'll give me a whole new bunch of t-shirts to have. And I mentioned this in the first couple minutes of the show, but I tend to stay away from shirts that have big vinyl graphics on them because my sewing machines do not like sewing through big vinyl graphics, and it kind of gets all like chewed up and it's not very pretty. So after doing that a few times, I'm just pickier about what shirts I keep, and I don't hang on to them if they've got big vinyl prints on them. So this one we've actually done pretty good on this shirt. We don't even have any of the graphics that got cut into. Often they'll be like part of a graphic on a hip, or you know, a bit of part of the original t-shirt showed up. So the more strategic you are with your cutting, you know, the more you can try to avoid some of that. But sometimes I like the, you know, the graphic that was on there. In fact, I've got a couple that I think the graphics are really cute, and I actually just might cut down to make into small t-shirts, so they might be fun. So Irene, glad you're here and watching for the first time. It's always fun to have someone new check out the show. So I'll just say that I've switched my time. I'm now sewing Monday nights and Wednesday nights at 7:45 Eastern American time. And if you're somewhere else in the world, you'll just have to figure out where that time zone is. So I haven't done the math for all the time zones. I'm in Hong Kong, and I know that it's 7:45 a.m. when I start here. So anyway, that's where you can go. If you don't have a husband or a partner that gives you t-shirts, you can check thrift stores. I know a lot of people have had really good luck finding just old t-shirts or not so old t-shirts at thrift stores and using those to cut up. So anyway, there's all kinds of fun, you know, upcycling projects. All right, so this is my cuff, and it's a rectangle, folded in half, and then this is the bottom of my legging, and I'm going to sew it here across the straight. Okay, so So glad that there's so many of you new people here. And it looks like it's just gonna stretch across. So as I sew, I'm really gonna pull the yellow to stretch, and I wanna make sure that I don't pull the gray. Just wanna pull the yellow. Across. T-shirt fabric does not make the best cuffs. It is not super stretchy, and it is not, doesn't have a very good recovery, which means that it stretches back. But to go with my t-shirt pants, I'm just going with it. But again, if you were using these for leggings, not pajamas, that you were gonna, day wear, I would use a cotton lycra fabric, and I wouldn't use t-shirts. But we're just making pajamas, and we're making these for free. So I am using a t-shirt. I've linked in this video, I've linked to a tutorial that I've used for free pattern, or for this free legging pattern. And it goes up to size 12 girls, which, so then I would probably say if you're using it for boys, I would maybe go up to size 10 so you can upsize. So I'm making a 10 for my 8-year-old because I don't want them to be tight, because he's a boy and probably doesn't want tight leggings, even for sleeping. So, so the girls pattern it goes from 2 years to 12 years, but for a boy, I would probably use it from, 2 years or 18 months even to 10, so that you can upsize. And, but if you're making it for a girl, you want to make sure you're using cotton lycra. So, but these are going to be some pretty cool PJs, I'm thinking. And I have a gray t-shirt already that I think I'm going to make for the top, and we'll put some sort of yellow iron-on image on it, and we'll have like a really cute PJ set. So maybe next week I'll do the iron-on on the top and go from there. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, Irene, that should work with t-shirt material. There's no reason that it shouldn't. I think any machine will sew t-shirt material. It's pretty flexible and pretty standard. Okay, let's see. Next step. So if I had just cut this out of the legging pattern, we would now have this. Okay? So the pattern is in the links. It's my free legging pattern. So you can grab it from, it's in the description for this video. Okay, so you can go ahead and grab the free pattern there. And I just want to make sure that I'm doing right sides together and that I'm putting, the same curve together. What are you doing with that? You can play with it. My son is not here to model these after, but what I'll do is after school today, I'll snap a picture and then I can upload it to the cover of this video. So if you want to see what they look like on, you can stop back tomorrow and I will have, I'll have a picture up for you, okay? My models are all at school except for the little one. I guess I'm going to try to match this line. I mean, I think I can do it. It should be pretty easy. So I'm going to just put one pin there as I sew down so that that looks pretty even. So I'm going to sew the front curve seam and the back curve seam together first, using my 3/8 seam allowance. Take out the pin. Okay, again, if you don't have a serger, you can definitely do this on your sewing machine. Just use a zigzag or a knit stitch so that your stitch has a little bit of stretch. Using this sort of fabric, if you don't use any sort of stretch stitch, you might pop your seams. And my kids are not gentle putting their clothes on. They like rip them off, and the boys are all kinds of crazy, it seems like, when they're especially taking off. They're not gentle or very aware. Like, I made that, be careful! But thankfully, if I can make it correctly, then hopefully they're not popping the seams as they go. All right, so let's take a look at what we got. It'll start to look more like leggings here, okay? And they are looking big, but that's what we want for pajamas, right? So here we go. We've got some pajama-esque looking pants, and we're gonna now sew the inseam. So I'm gonna start at one pant cuff and then go all the way up to the middle and then down the other leg. All right, so that's what we're gonna sew next. And I'm gonna, as I go, I'm gonna try to match where my lines come together so that it's all lined up. And I have no idea what my 2-year-old is doing in the other room. Yesterday when I was in the shower, she got out paints by herself, which is not great. This year is the first time that she and I are home alone. I've always had another kid home to watch her and like tell me when she's getting into trouble. So she and I are learning our routines together. Thankfully, she's better than she was last year about getting into trouble. So here, you know, something to note, you can see how because of my feeder foot that that this one is longer than this one because the bottom gets sped through faster. So I'm kind of stretching to make sure that it lines up again. But you know, sometimes the machine feeds the top or the bottom faster, and so it is something to be aware of when you're sewing, when you're matching it. So I think there's a line about when matching seams, you lay the seams the same way or the opposite way of each other. Oh, yes. So usually the seams will both fold the direction that I'm sewing. So right now, they're both gonna fold towards me, the seam allowances, and as I go over them. So usually I do, they end up going the same direction. All right, so here we go. We're getting there. And I'll just show you one quick tip about how I finish the what were you doing? Huh? How I finish the bottom of my seams. So there's a couple of options. You see I have this like raw edge sticking out of my cuff or raw seam. So sometimes I will fold it back, fold it over, and then stitch along there. But this is my faster way with a darning needle, so it's not sharp. It's made for like maybe embroidery or something, and it has a big eye. Okay, so I stick that between my seams, and then I thread all the serger threads through the big eye. Okay, and then I just pull it through and pull it tight. So now that seam, that thread is all the way through there and is not going to fray. All right, and a way to really make sure it doesn't fray is to put just a drop of like fray check right there, and that will keep it really secure, and you won't have to worry about your seams coming undone, because after going through all the work of doing this, you don't want your seams to come done. So if you don't have a serger, just go back and forth on your seams, and then they shouldn't come undone. So if you're using a regular machine, you've got to make sure that you use the back stitch when you start. And I can show you when we're going to use the regular machine here in a minute. So I had one of my really good friends did a sewing project at her house once, and she's not a sewer. She's good at so many other things. And then she finished the whole project, and then she's like, it's coming apart. And she had finished a whole project without back stitching. So we got together and we just back stitched over all of the starts of her seams. So, all right, so leggings, right? These are going to be baggy, but that's what I want. Okay, it's boys' PJs, not like tight girl leggings. So, and here's my elastic. Okay, so yeah. Oh, you want to put the rubber band on there? All right, let's see. Just gonna do a little thing. All right, so the waist. We have the last part of this, and I'm doing a really simple way to finish it. You could fold over, you know, so I'm using 1-inch knit elastic. It's like pajama elastic. You could fold over a casing, stitch this around. Oh, another one. Sorry, got to help out here. Yes, it is wide enough to go around a diaper. It should be wide enough to go around a diaper. If you have a diaper. Okay, this is the last one, okay? Mommy's trying to finish these pants. Got hair in your eyes. So you can fold over a casing and sew all the way around and then thread the elastic through the casing. But I am going to do a faster kind of cheater way because these are just knit and they are just for pajamas. So I will show you how we're going to do it. So this is already cut to size, measured before school, and I'm going to sew it into a circle. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, good. My 2-year-old is learning how to count. Right now she can count count by herself 1, 2, but she talks about all kinds of numbers even though they're not right. So she'll be like 5, and we're like, 5 what? It's always funny in this stage where they know a lot of things, but they don't know how to necessarily use them properly. Anyway, but it's so fun watching people, you know, kids grow and learn. Let's see. So I've used a zigzag here to attach my elastic into a circle. And then I'm going to, so this is obviously the back, and I'm going to mark the front with a pin. Okay? And then I'm going to find the back and front of these pants. It's easy to find if you hold the bottom of the inseam here, and whichever is taller, that's the back. So I'm going to put this elastic on the wrong side, so like that's the outside, the wrong side with my seam here, okay, of this, okay? So we look like that, and then I'm going to match where the pin is with the front seam. Alright, and then pin there. So now what we have to do is, as I'm sewing, I have to pull and stretch this much, right? So it just gives me an idea of how much I have to stretch and how much extra fabric. You can see here, this has to meet when I'm doing it, alright? So I'm going to use my serger, or maybe I'll just use a zigzag. It'd be easier to maybe show you if I use a zigzag. So I'm going to leave it on zigzag. I'm going to start in the back, so I end in the back. And I'm just sewing about a 1/4 inch down from the top. I'm leaving like a little bit of my legging above the elastic, all right, and sewing around. And remember I have to stretch while I'm sewing this. So I'll get it started. get the needle down, and then stretch the elastic and sew. This is definitely a two-handed job when you're stretching and sewing. A third hand would be really nice, but I haven't figured out that one yet. So I'm just attaching, I'm sewing the elastic, kind of half on the elastic and half on the fabric, well, mostly on the elastic, and sewing around the top of my leggings. You can do this on the serger if you want. It actually gives the inside a little bit more finished look, but I think you'll be able to see this better if I use this machine. So I want to be able to demonstrate this. The leggings that I made on Monday, I used my serger around the top. So you could find that video and then you'd be able to see. Okay, so we're back around. We're gonna back stitch to secure, and then we're gonna cut our threads. So we're down to the last step here. I'm going to turn these right side out. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. And the last step is to fold this over, and you're going to create your own casing just by folding it over. Okay, so you fold it all over. And again, as you sew, you have to stretch so that it's flat when you're sewing, and when you're done sewing, then it'll all bunch up to be the waistband, okay? So I'm gonna start in the back, and I'm gonna sew on the right side of the fabric so I can kind of control how it looks a little bit more, and then I'm gonna stitch around. So I'm gonna make my zigzag a little bit more narrow, just so that it looks a little bit different. I don't want it quite so fat showing on the outside. And I could switch to gray thread, but I want you guys to be able to see this. So my son won't care. So I'm stitching along. I'm pulling to make sure that I'm using it to make sure that I'm not getting bunches. And I'm sewing on the edge of the elastic, but on the outside of the pants. So just give me a second and I'll show you how it looks. So this, I really use this cheater way of putting in the elastic for pretty much any sort of legging or pajamas, just because one, the kids don't care, two, no one's really gonna see it. And I don't think it really feels any different against their skin. I guess if anyone did have a child who's sensitive to how their clothes feel, I'd love to know if this is like annoying, more annoying than putting in a casing. That'd probably be a good thing for me to have as a reference. I'm not sure if it feels bunchier on the inside or not. I don't think it really looks like it. It's essentially the same thing. So here's the outside of the pajamas. That's the back. There's the front. So I don't think that's a bad look at all, especially for pajamas. And then here's how the inside looks. So you could trim this seam allowance if you want. I'm not really going to bother, but that's how it looks on the inside. So it's essentially the same as if you sewed a casing and threaded the elastic through, but it's faster. So there you go. All right, so let me grab the t-shirt. So these are my leggings, and then this is the shirt that I am thinking I'm gonna put some sort of yellow graphic on it and make it. So I zigzag because I want to make sure that the seam is stretchy so the seams don't pop when my kids are like getting it on. All right, so You can try just a straight stitch and stretch as you sew, but I use a zigzag just to be safe. Like I said, my kids seem pretty aggressive getting their clothes on and off, so I don't know if it's just my kids or what, but yeah, it's like a little crazy watching them do that. The 2-year-old is like more gentle, maybe because she's a girl and they're boys. But so maybe I'll have to make a t-shirt out of a lighter gray. I'm not sure, but anyway, this is what I was thinking would go together. Maybe I'd put some sort of yellow iron-on graphic on there to make it a set. So thanks for watching. I hope you've gotten some tips about how to upcycle old t-shirts or other things to clothes for your kids. Grab the free pattern and take a look at the photo tutorial, which I also talked about, like piecing shirts together, and I showed you how I did the top as well as the bottom, so that you can have that for reference if you want to make the top. And you can use, I have a free long sleeve t-shirt pattern. This is the short sleeve version of my free pattern. So you can grab that, put it together, and have an easy PJ set. So thank you for watching, and I will be back on Mama Loves Food sewing next week, Monday night at 7:45, and I'll be back on Naptime Creations on Wednesday at 7:45. So I hope you'll tune in again next week. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.